color. Vibes.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady.
The last stranding has already begun.
Amelie?
You're too late. What took you so long?
Your voice.
You still don't know who I am, do you?
Who are you?
Sam. I knew you'd come back. love you, Sam.
I'll be waiting for you on the beach. I've been waiting for you, right here, ever since. You were supposed to stop me. Stop all of this.
Bridget?
Yes. It's me, Sam.
Where's Amelie?
Where she's always been. Nowhere. My daughter, Samantha America Strand, doesn't exist.
Amelie doesn't exist?
Not in your world. I'm sorry, Sam. I've had to wear a mask for so long. Amelie and Bridget are both a part of me.
What's that supposed to mean?
Quiet, and I'll tell you. There is no time for questions. Listen. Just listen. Do you understand, Sam? Amelie and Bridget, those are just names. What I am is an extinction entity. So, knowing what you know now, you have two choices.
Is getting shot one of them?
You wouldn't come back if it happened here, you know. You'd be straight on to the afterlife. But no. It's not one of them. Killing you would be a terrible mistake. I know that better than anyone. The last stranding has already begun. A seam has formed from my beach and the beaches of every soul in America. And soon it will be inundated by a vast surge of antimatter starting here. In a flash, this world will be no more. Consumed by an explosion. A big bang. So, that brings us to your first choice. Do nothing. Stay here with me and bear witness to the very end.
Just watch it burn.
Together. With me. Until the last flame winks out. Doesn't sound so bad, does it? It's not like the world has long left anyway. Then there's the second choice. In expanding the network, you brought people and their beaches together, integrating them into a greater whole. Like this Kipu. But in doing so, you also bound them to my beach. The very beach where I opened the gates to the other side. You can't stop what's coming. But if you cut me and my beach loose, perhaps you can stop it from spreading. You might just prevent the last stranding. And mankind will live to die another day.
And it doesn't have to end here.
But it does. The beach is doomed no matter what. One look ought to tell you that. Which is why we must sever our connection.
That'll be it. The end of the Death Stranding.
can't stop the inevitable. The sixth extinction will happen either today or tomorrow. You can either end it with dignity, quick, clean, and in a flash, or you can struggle in vain, knowing full well what's waiting come the finish. Those are your choices. You kept it all this time. Perhaps you still have a chance to stop this nightmare. You brought the world together. You have the right to decide. Pull the rope or cut the noose. But whatever you do, don't hesitate. I'm ready, Sam Strand. Make your choice.
But wait. I don't know what to do.
Sure you do. After everything, how could you not?
I'm here for you. Always. Like you were for me.
Here. It's a dream catcher. Wear it when you sleep, and I'll keep the nightmares away. I'll always be with you. When you're all grown up, you'll need it to make us whole again. And when the time comes, you'll have to stop me. You are the only one who can. Promise you'll remember. Sam, I'll be waiting for you on the beach.
I remember. You knew. You always knew.
I did and I didn't. I had so many dreams of the future. I didn't know which ones to trust. Which is why I decided to share them with you and the others. But to connect the dots, to make sense of everything, you need perspective. You need time. Time has no meaning to me. I am not a line. I am a single point. Which is why all I could do was just show you the choices and let you decide.
Our nightmares or your dreams?
You found the common thread, the strand that links them together. And you did that the only way possible. To live life one day at a time. Thank you, Sam. A gun won't help you here. But it still has a role to play. It was the bonds between people that brought the world together. And if that is what matters most to you, then I will stay here on this beach. And I will shut myself in and the rest of you out.
Shut yourself in. Come on.
Once the last stranding starts, it can't be stopped. I can't go with you. All I can do is try to spare you the worst.
stay on the beach.
Sam, I am the beach. And I must stay here and ensure that the extinction happens. Even if it takes tens or hundreds of thousands of years.
Alone?
That's what an EE does. If I had just done my job, none of this would have happened. But I couldn't take it anymore. I got so tired of waiting, and I figured that no one would blame me if I just got it all over with. So, that's what I did.
Sounds like hell.
But you and the others came together, connected. And you may be living on borrowed time, but you still have hope. Before each of the Big Five, life rebelled. They fought back, evolved in order to survive. The extinction isn't just an ending. It's an opportunity. And if I have to pay the price for that, to be the sacrifice, then so be it. Even if we aren't together, we will always be connected. Goodbye, Sam. A gun won't help you here, but it still has a role to play. tell you. There is no time for questions. When you were young, you used to have bad dreams. You cried about them all the time. The truth is, those weren't your dreams. They were mine. For as long as I can remember, I've dreamt of the beach. Not just while sleeping, in my waking hours too. In my dreams, I watched the world end so many times. Countless past extinctions that decimated life on this planet. Again, and again, and again. At first, I didn't understand what I was seeing or why. And that wasn't the worst of it. There were other, more terrible dreams. Dreams of death and destruction. Of a massive extinction to come. Like this one. And I would always be the one to end it all. To bring about the last stranding. As I have today. First operation, I was only 20. I opened my eyes and found myself on the beach. But the moment I came round, I was back in the hospital bed. I was split across two worlds. Bridget, my Ha in that one. Amelie, my Ka in this. Somehow, the two of us managed to coexist. Soon, our ages began to diverge. Bridget's body got older, while the beach kept Amelie's the same. So I came up with a story. I told people that Amelie was my daughter. A daughter with a debilitating condition and an absent father. Look. Amelie. Âme is French for soul. A soul that's a lie. There was no Amelie. Only me and the beach. I thought it was a curse in the beginning. But later, I started thinking, maybe I can use this. I tried to find out more about the beach. Because understanding the beach had to be the key to interpreting my visions of the future. I realized the beach was connected to the world of the dead, which meant that somewhere out beyond it were the memories of time itself, including those of every organism that had ever lived. 4.6 billion years of biological history, a history that might even stretch back to the creation of the universe. The chiral network and everything that followed was born from my pursuit of that knowledge. By passing data through the beach, we were unbound by the restrictions of time. Simulations that would have taken years or more were simple and effortless. Everything that the Earth had lost and forgotten could be reconstructed and reclaimed. But shortly after we began our research, America saw its first void out. I thought I was running out of time, that my nightmares were becoming a reality. So I raced to complete the chiral network as quickly as possible. The past held all the answers. If only I could find a way to piece them together. A network that bridged our world and the beach. That might do it, I believed. So I started researching bridge babies, children bound to the world of the dead. What causes an extinction entity to come into being? What was the reason for the previous 5 mass extinctions? The answers to those questions would tell me how to stop the 6th. I founded bridges, more determined than ever to build a chiral network that would cover all of America. But the longer I fought my war against the inevitable, the weaker I became. My Ha had cancer. The beach's punishment, maybe, for not playing along like a good little EE. And then, just like that, my Ha was gone. I couldn't finish what I'd started. So, I asked you to do it for me, and you did. You helped us complete the network, helped us to reclaim everything the universe experienced from its inception to this moment. Every mystery was ours to solve, like this one. Once, there was an explosion. A big bang that gave birth to time and space. Thing is, It was more like a big fluke. All that matter and antimatter should have canceled itself out, leaving nothing. But somehow a tiny speck of matter survived. Just enough. Enough to make this world and everything in it. A world that shouldn't be, a world out of balance. Order inevitably gives way to chaos. Everything that lives must inevitably die. It's like the universe is trying to return us to the nothing we came from. Maybe the Big Five were its best attempts to finish us off. But somehow, life always managed to survive just enough. Enough to thumb its nose at the will of the cosmos. You know, I'm starting to think that extinction might be the key to overcoming total annihilation. It forces life to fight to survive, to endure, to exist. That's why the Big Five ultimately rekindled life instead of extinguishing it. From the ashes of the dead rise the living. Stronger and wiser. Inheritors of the legacy of existence itself. They defy the universe and refuse to surrender. They say, we're just getting started. Extinction is an opportunity. Pulled the trigger twice that day. I knew at once I'd made a mistake. I found your beach and looked everywhere for you. Sam. There you are. You want to go home? Let's go home. I wanted to set you free from death once and for all. It's okay. I know the way. But in doing so, I upset the fundamental balance between life and death. I just wanted to save you. I am an extinction entity. It's my fate to lead our species to extinction. But that moment, you became part of that fate. You became a repatriate, and dooms started spreading my nightmares to others throughout the world. It was me that got you and everyone with dooms into this. Not long after, the Death Stranding occurred. The dead clung to our world, and BTs used my beach to cross over and devour them, triggering more void-outs. A catalyst that would set the world on a path to extinction. It was my duty to serve as a sacrifice, to wait and watch it unfold from this beach. That, or hasten the last stranding and end this slow death. Given these, my only options, I chose to end it quickly. But to trigger the last stranding, I needed you, a part of me. Here too. I would be able to witness extinction consummated with you by my side. But now that you're here, there's another choice. You can cut me off. An EE doesn't have that option for itself, but in my nightmares, I saw another future, one that you chose. One where extinction is hope against total annihilation.
Faintly, I'll go to take this head on. Soon I'll come around. Lost and never found, waiting for my word. Seen but never buried underground. But I'll keep coming. I'll keep coming. Yeah, I'll keep coming. Yeah, I'll keep coming.
A gun won't help you here. But it still has a role to play. Listen, Sam. I was the one that brought you and Cliff together again. There was something I wanted you to know. You were never abandoned. And you're not alone. Don't you see, Sam? You have to live.
I see him. This way.
He's over there.
Over here, Sam.
Sam.
That way. We're coming, Sam. You ready, Fatima?
Ready. Sam, I see something.
Okay. Lou, take me to Sam.
Don't give up. You're still connected.
Gotcha!
For too long have we lived as strangers to one another, divided by walls built to keep us safe. But now, with the completion of the Cairo network, we may at last move forward as a people united. Today we come together to celebrate the birth of a new nation. A new nation for a new world. The United Cities of America. I once took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And though that proud republic may be no more, we remain. And so, as your president, I hereby swear to support and defend you, the people. Let there be no more walls between us, nor masks to hide who we are. Let there be a new America. An America where we can face one another, where we can speak our minds and open our hearts. Now, the old ways die hard, but I believe, my fellow Americans, that we have the strength and the courage to rise above our past and embrace our future. The Death Stranding is a part of that past. An enduring shadow, a constant reminder of what could have been. That we stand here today is testament, not to the greatness of any one individual, but to our capacity to come together, to the bonds between us, to our collective greatness. All things must come to an end, ourselves included. But as long as we savor each moment, find joy in the promise of tomorrow, embrace hope, and reject despair, we will endure. President Bridget Strand and her daughter, Samantha America Strand, sacrificed everything in their pursuit of hope that we, the people, might be whole again. That they are not here today to see the fruits of their labor fills us all with a profound sadness. But we find comfort in the knowledge that their memories will live on in the Cairo network and in our hearts. We will always remain connected. There's another hero in this story. One whose achievements seem destined to go unrecognized. America still needs that hero. That person without whom we would not be here. Now, the name is unimportant, but you know who I mean. And for that unsung hero, I have a message. It was you who brought us together. You who made us whole again. And while you and I will eventually pass on, we will be...
Going somewhere, Sam? Tired of being the unsung hero?
No, I'm done is all. She's gone.
Come on, wait. There's something I need to tell you. Huh. This doesn't bother you anymore? Well, that's great. Now, wouldn't you like to know how we brought you back from the beach? We were going to use the doll, but didn't have one handy, which is when I remembered something else.
Not what I think it is.
Yes. What could be more connected to Amelie's beach than President Strand's umbilical cord? Hartman thought that's why she left it with me in the first place. Unfortunately...
It didn't work.
Yeah, she'd already cut her beach loose. It was just gone. We didn't know if that meant she dragged you into the great beyond or sent you to some other beach. We were really racking our brains. Hartman and Mama split up and started searching every beach you might feasibly have washed up on. We looked for a month with absolutely nothing to show for it.
A month on the outside. How long on the inside?
Trust me when I tell you, you don't want to know. But don't worry. We found no signs of accelerated aging. In the end, this is what led us to you. Just when we were about to give up, Die Hardman reminded us about the revolver. So, we tried to follow it, and it led us to a far corner of your own beach. And bingo, there you were. Mama made visual contact first. She was able to see you from her vantage point on the other side. She informed Lochna via their connection, and Hartman confirmed your location during his subsequent NDE. The plan was for Fragile to, in essence, slingshot Lou and me to your position so we could rescue you. But it's not so easy to send multiple individuals to another person's beach for an extended period of time. And that's where the umbilical cord came in. We wove these from President Strand's DNA. They serve as a single knot that binds us all. The President must have known all of this would happen. Ironic, isn't it? The gun that set this whole mess in motion ends up being the key to saving you.
Amelie, she said it had another purpose.
Not a weapon, but a lifeline. A stick that became a rope. I suppose that's one way of putting it. Oh, Sam. You have no idea how long I've been waiting to give you a hug. Got something else to tell you. Top secret. It's about Cliff. Bibi's mother's name was Lisa Bridges, Cliff's common-law wife.
Lisa Bridges?
Now, Cliff was killed by a man identified in the records only as John. Former U.S. Special Forces. Quite good at it by all accounts. Later appointed as an aide to the president, who used him for most of her wet work. The records go on to state that he vanished after Cliff's death. A warrant was put out, but he was later found dead. Turns out some people die harder than others, though. Dear John donned a mask and reappeared with a new identity. But you can't fool the chiral network. We restored the old records, and Mama hid them deep in the archives. You're the only one besides us with access privileges. Take a look if you're so inclined. But don't say I didn't warn you. The president's got some dirty, dirty laundry. I don't trust him, but I'll work with him if that's what it takes. We'll talk later.
Sam. I don't expect you to forgive me. But would you hear me out? I killed Captain Clifford Unger. I would tell you I did it for America. For love of country. But I didn't. I did it for her. Because I loved her with all my heart. She was everything to me. Everything. Now, I'm not trying to make excuses. I just want you to know that not a day's gone by when I haven't thought about it. Time didn't help. Or the mask. Please, let me finish. The captain saved my life. You know why they call me Die Hardman? Because he wouldn't let me die. He brought my sorry ass back home every time. And I loved him as much as I loved her. And when he stared me down, that ghost, I knew he was here to kill me, to make it right. And why shouldn't he? Why didn't he? He couldn't save his kid, his baby. And that's what brought him back. I guess when he saw I was trying to do my part for America, he remembered who he was. And he forgave me. God! But I don't deserve it, God damn it! There is no atoning for what I've done. God! But maybe this is the next best thing. Maybe he brought me back from the beach for a reason. One last time. He wanted me to do this. To keep on being Die Hardman.
No. He didn't. Nobody wants a president who acts like they're immortal. And if you're not scared of death, how can you value life? And life is pretty fucking fragile right now. And yeah, the old ways die hard. But that's what's gonna have to happen if we're gonna come together and build a better America. That gun won't help you here. That's her words, not mine.
Thank you, Sam.
Hey, Sam. Been waiting for you.
Lou? Dead?
Poor thing was never truly alive. Not in this world, at least. The decommissioning order finally came through. Can't risk necrosis. The body can't stay here. I thought you might want to take care of it. You could try taking Lou out of the pod just to see what happens. But that would be in direct contravention of an executive order. And there are laws about that kind of thing, now that we're a nation. just couldn't bring myself to do it. But if the alternative is defying the president, I can't do that either. Not me.
All right. I'll go to the incinerator.
Before you leave, I'd like to check something quickly. I just took your cufflinks offline. In that state, there'd be nothing to stop you from removing them. If you did, the UCA wouldn't know where you were or how to find you. You'd be invisible. When you use the incinerator, you'll be reconnected to the network automatically. I trust you'll remember what I said.
Right. Absolutely. Thanks for everything. How's the weather?
Don't think you'll be needing an umbrella. I decided to follow my father's dream after all. Don't worry, I won't get mixed up with any terrorists this time. UCA's got my back. We're the first private delivery company to get the official approval.
Sounds like you're moving up in the world. Congratulations.
Thanks. Wait, there's something I have to tell you. I didn't shoot Higgs. Couldn't pull the trigger. So I let him choose. Death or eternal solitude on the beach.
Fair enough. You never did like breaking things.
That's right. I find and fix what's broken. And reconnect. I'm fragile.
But not that fragile.
Wanna come work for me? Could use a man like you.
The world's still broken. Same as before.
What isn't? But we're still here. We're still chugging along.
Not everyone. Not me.
Come on. You put America back together, didn't you?
Doesn't mean there's a place for me. I've got no ties to anyone or anything. I might as well be dead. I felt like that when we first met in the cave. I still do.
Don't act like you're the same person. You've learned how to touch, to feel. You've connected with people. With us.
Everything I touch, I lose.
Sam!
Come on, Lou. One last delivery.
Hiya! We back at it with another review over chapter 13. Leaving off from the last chapter where we saw Double A dropping baby Daryl Sam into the stream, we begin this chapter with grown man Daryl Sam waking up on presumably the same beach that event took place at. I had to take a quick break before finishing up the final stretch of this chapter, and when I came back to it a few days later, I picked up on a darker hue color across the beach. I don't think this chapter has a strict time limit, but something about the change in lighting, the contrast between the initial wake up scene and the current tone of the environment, it almost feels like a visual cue, like Double A's impatience is starting to bleed through the world itself, waiting for my Daryl Sam to find her. We get into the juicy juice now, y'all, and I was stuck in this chapter for a nice little minute. I was running along the beach first instead of running inland, and I also tried to go all the way in the water like I did near the end of chapter 8 in order to find Double A. And once I turned my Daryl Sam around and he got tired of running to sit down, then finally the star of the show arrives.
I'm a star.
Come on, I'm sorry. It's time to go.
No, I'm a star.
We hear that same song Double A sung previously right here, and like we went over previously, this is not just a regular old lullaby. It's a countdown to the last Stranding event, and who we think is Double A standing there until she starts to speak, and we hear it is actually the previous president's voice. And when they turned around donning that mask, y'all, at this point I really did give up in my mind of trying to make sense of anything and just let the story guide me to its reasoning, which is what I suggest you all do the first time playing through this chapter. So then we see the previous president laying in bed just like we saw her back in the first chapter. And for the most part, this moment plays out the same, except we're treated to a whole creepy, crawly Bridget sequence that takes things to a whole nother level. Of course, we get that infamous slogan of Double A right here.
I'll be waiting for you on the beach.
Double A then lets us know that she's been stuck on the beach this whole time, just waiting for my Daryl Sam to stop her from completing the extinction event. And then turns out she doesn't really exist. It's been Bridget this whole time, which, okay, it makes some sense, but then she flips it again to say that both Double A and Bridget are part of her. Now, I had to double back to the ha and ka terminologies used previously to kind of make sense of what I'm being told right now. And like the being before us broke down that the names we were told are all just one and the same person. Anyway, so now the name will just be Double E. The switch up here is crazy, I know, y'all. So when Double E pulled out that gun, I was highly upset. All the effort it took in getting to this beach only to get shot at was just too much nonsense going around, until Double E said that she wasn't going to do that. Thank goodness. But she then said that getting rid of him in that way wouldn't do any good, and she has firsthand knowledge of that, which also didn't add up to me at this moment. We will be getting back to this statement a bit later on though, y'all. So then Double E lowers her gun and says that the last Stranding has already started. Then we are given a choice of either staying here at the beach with Double E to watch it all crash and burn and be this lovey-dovey couple. Even my controller didn't agree with this here, so it just went out on me. So of course, we got to hear what the other more viable option would be, which is to eliminate her.
Damn it. What? Little shit.
Fatality.
Now, the first time going through this part, I just immediately shot at her, which didn't get me anywhere, obviously, until I walked up on her like I did here in order to get the option to give her a hug instead. I see the vision, Kojima, but I would have liked a chance to get a separate ending if there was the possibility to put down Double E, though I'm not hating on the only pathway forward here on giving her a big old Daryl Sam hug, which he denied our mama number 2. So Daryl Sam then has a flashback to when Double E says she was there for him when he was crying on the beach as a young child, and also she let him know that he has to stop her when the time is right. So the wheels were put in motion before my Daryl Sam even knew what was going on here. The dearest of all our friends did let us know about the nightmares that people who had dooms suffered through came from Double E, as she says that she only shared them so that the world could make sense of her dreams and to kind of pinpoint what may occur in the future. My Daryl Sam, though, was able to filter through all that extra stuff and link everyone together at the end of the day. Thank you, Daryl Sam. So now he's handed the gun by Double E just to be told it won't save him here where it matters, but it may still help him out in a way. Double E offers herself up as a sacrifice to remain on the beach for as long as she can, holding the world and its people together until the extinction event comes to pass. Until the extinction event comes to pass. It's a massive offer, one rooted in connection rather than control. But then I found myself wondering, why didn't she choose that path from the start? Maybe that's the point. Maybe she couldn't at the time. Back then, she was still gripping too tightly, haunted by guilt and convinced that ending everything was the only way to make humanity understand. But once Daryl Sam connected those broken strands, once he gave her a reason to look inward instead of out, she let go. Now she stays not to save the world, but to save him, not as a punishment, but as a choice. Because in the end, it wasn't about extinction. It was about love and one last act of grace. Daryl Sam is then pushed back into the water by Double E to again wake back up on the beach with that same creepy doll that we now know links to Double E's beach. There is also a photo of Double E with Daryl Sam and his late pregnant wife. And I'm late here, y'all, but why I just noticed that my Daryl Sam is grayed out here while that doll is still shining in full color, just like that movie Pleasantville.
What's outside of Pleasantville?
I feel like my Daryl Sam has not given up yet here, even when everything fades to gray. He's still holding on to what matters, which we see him then put the doll into the water and pick up the gun that Double E gives him. So now we are on Sam's beach, and this is such a new way that I've come across for the ending credits to play out at the end of the game in this way. I like it. Next, you'll see me running along the beach once again instead of going inland until my Daryl Sam gets tired and begins again right near the shore of his own beach. I couldn't figure out at first if this was really the end of the game or if this was a fake out right here. I figured this was Kojima's way for us all to process through what we were just told by Double E. And after a couple minutes of running around, my Daryl Sam sits down with Double E, then diving deep into the dreams she's had since she could remember about bringing about the end of the world with countless simulations and possibilities. At the end of each dream she had, Double E is the one that will always be the main catalyst for the last Stranding event. We are then back to running off in the distance for another couple minutes, and since I was running inland and still ended up by the shore of the beach, this is when I realized that it didn't matter the direction. My Daryl Sam wants to move forward, but part of him isn't ready, so until then, we can only listen to what Double E says. And this time, we finally get her backstory, or at least her version of it. She starts with how she came to be split between her body and spirit, and y'all, this whole part had me doing Olympic level mental gymnastics on what is real and what was beach logic. I feel like the operation that she had at age 20 didn't create her destiny. It just marked the moment she finally started to remember it. I guess it makes it more believable when you add in the absent father bit, and most people would just write it off and think, well, yeah, that makes sense in regards to Amelie's cover story. Also, with all these breakdowns of names for Double E, like, come on now. First, we are given the name Amelie, and then she told us that her real name is Amerigo, and then now it's back to Amelie, with a twist in that it's all a lie. With that truth bomb, we can only stand up to once again run around some more for another couple minutes. Once we get tired of running around, Double E then lets us know that she used the knowledge she was given to research more about the beach and made the connection to the world of the dead, and how we can use that connection to dig up the Earth's secrets, the network that we helped to link others to, and also the creation of BBs were a part of Double E uncovering the wisdom of the beach. I'm not so sure that Bridget developing cancer was the beach's punishment, as Double E says here, but who knows for sure, as fate can be very fickle. This didn't stop the plans set in motion for Double E, as she still had my Daryl Sam as an option to help stop this whole event from spiraling out of control in a way. While Double E gives us this cosmic crash course on the Big Bang Theory, I couldn't help but notice that this scene is replaying again in the background that is from chapter 1. It's like time itself is stuck looping behind her words. This is the beach after all, so I took it to mean that memories left unresolved might keep replaying in cycles here, just like the Big Five extinction events. Since what it aimed to destroy, I'm assuming, is us humans, then it will keep happening until the deed is done, or until we change and evolve on our own without having to be forced into it. And then Double E says, this is humanity's chance to beat the sixth extinction. I stood up yet again to do some more running exercises, and once we got all that wind out of us, then we get back to it with Bridget circling back to that statement she made earlier on this chapter. She said she had first-hand knowledge of what getting rid of my Daryl Sam would do, and so here we are with a breakdown of why she said that. Though we were led to believe it was Di that shot at our dear old dad, when it was actually Bridget that did that. So keep this in mind as well, y'all, because of course we don't get the full story up front. Now we get to see Double E's version of events from when Daryl Sam was a baby on the beach. I don't mind being told the same story from different perspectives, but the way my brain works, I needed to be told in order somewhat. It reminds me of the time I played Beyond Two Souls, and in that game, you had an option to play either in chronological order or the order in which the game was intended to be played, which is all out of whack, leaving the player to figure things out. So I appreciated the choice we had in that game versus this game. I'm not downing it at all, but this is a dissertation level of game, so it's a lot to take in, and yet I am still loving it, y'all. Don't get it twisted. I hated that Double E saving my Daryl Sam upset the balance that much that the last Stranding event started taking place. She also reiterates here that she is the one that gave everyone dooms, and the cause of BTs into the world was through her beach. At first, Double E had only two choices, but with the arrival of my Daryl Sam came a third, perhaps more viable choice, which is to save the world by breaking free from Double E. With that, we stand up once again, and I wonder if I had just stood there, would I have been able to find Double E on the beach? So as the credits roll with this awesome song playing, I'm just gonna let my Daryl Sam chill out after all that running, and of course, let y'all enjoy this super sweet song. I hope you all like that ending credit song. That was a perfect choice to play for this scene. And I also wanted to test out my idea earlier on if standing in one spot will do anything, but I didn't want to keep you wonderful people on hold forever. So moving my Daryl Sam along for only a few seconds, he then stops for a moment to recall Double E's words about that gun. And y'all, when he put that weapon to his head and pulled the trigger with the game logo showing up right at this crucial scene, I thought it was all over for my Daryl Sam for sure. But nope. When I saw that reconnect with the living option at the bottom, I was able to release that deep breath. And we back at it on the beach with Daryl Sam, clicking that gun several more times. Stop, Daryl Sam, you're alive. Let it be. Double E's voice cuts in to let us know that she was actually the reason for the reunion with dear old dad, and also to remind him of the connections he's made with other people to kind of propel him forward and keep him from giving up on living his life. So after this, I wasn't quite sure what to do again until I saw those figures high in the sky like hope above the ocean. Once I heard that London Bridge song being sung again, I knew we were nearing the end of Daryl Sam's journey on this beach. When I first saw the signs of what I thought would be BTs, but they never really fully formed, almost like a pull from the past trying to take shape again. Since Daryl Sam's path is now forward-facing, I feel the future's already claimed him. So leave him alone. Stop trying to drag my Daryl Sam down. So when I got up to the shore, I was concentrated on those figures up above Daryl Sam, and I even scanned the area first, and I didn't see anything. I went on ahead further into the water, and when I was forced back is when I seen Double E over there blending in the scene with that gray dress. Or white, I'm not sure. Your girl needs some glasses. But Double E then points up to the sky where those figures are to confirm that Daryl Sam is still connected. And to me, those figures didn't represent anything when I first saw them, but replaying the game and seeing how there are 5 of them up there, I took it to mean the connections to Die, Dead Man, Heartman, Mama Number 2, and my lovely Fragile. Of course, those figures in the sky could represent anybody or anything. Daryl Sam is then pulled under by Dead Man and my lovable Lou. Coming back into Daryl Sam's body here, I noticed that this time the BB within is grayed out now. So I'm not entirely sure what this signifies, but I took it to mean that our dearest BB is no longer fully connected to the world of the dead or to my Daryl Sam. And with that, chapter 13 is completed. And yes, thank you a million times to our Daryl Sam for getting us to this point. We did a lot of running and soul searching in this chapter, y'all. This was emotional warfare from start to finish. Now we are back to the living world, and the scene opens up with Dai making his political speech, and I had to laugh a bit at him saying this sentence here about the birth of a nation, knowing the double meaning behind that. But I won't go too deep into that, y'all, since this is Dai's time to celebrate as the new president of the UCA. The fact that Dai took off his mask right here at first seemed like a genuine way to gain the trust of those connected to the UCA, but I just don't trust it one bit, as it looks like a performative gesture that a politician does to keep their constituents happy so they can be voted in for another term. I know that Dai is supposedly off the suspect list, but the fact that he gave this version of events and detailing what happened to the previous president was too clean, and he already starting off by lying to the people. Such a shame. My Daryl Sam is not buying any of this, as I'm sure he knows that this is all still a facade. Deadman comes to check on Daryl Sam. Y'all really had to let my man breathe, because he really just wanted to be left alone since Double E is gone now. But when Deadman goes to grab Daryl Sam, he doesn't snatch his arm back, so maybe his time on the beach healed old wounds. Speaking of the beach, Deadman then lets us in on the grand plan to rescue my Daryl Sam, and after going through some options to use, such as that creepy doll and the umbilical cord left behind by the previous president, we learn that we were away from this world for about a month. So since time works differently on the beach, Daryl Sam could have been running around for years for all we know. And the instrument to bring Daryl Sam back was in fact the gun left behind by Dai. So this was the role the weapon played in helping the others reconnect with Daryl Sam, along with using the umbilical cord left behind by the previous president, which links them all together, just like Double E said on her beach. It's definitely a mind twist when you think of it all. I'm not sure if this is the exact same gun used back in the day with dear old dad and baby Daryl Sam, but it just goes to show that some things can come full circle to resolve itself in a way. Now, I'm just hating on this, y'all. I can appreciate the brotherly hug here and even the lovey-dovey hug he gave Double E on the beach. But Daryl Sam, you just gonna leave my mama number 2 hanging like that? Just a shame. All around shame on you, Daryl Sam. So, Deadman then tells us the name of our dear mom and gives us background on the person who supposedly did our dear old dad in, which, if you all paid attention, then the vision would lead you to believe it is Dai. While Deadman is laying it on us with his suspicions, that I have to agree with, since he's the brother man, but not all skin folk are kinfolk. So then with all this distrust in the air, Dai then walks up, and it seems like they were going to just go on their separate way at first here, but then Dai stops Daryl Sam to start off saying he doesn't expect to be let off the hook, and he just deep dives right into it, y'all, saying he killed my Daryl Sam's father. To make it even worse, Dai didn't do it for the good of the UCA. He did it for the love of the previous president, proving that love can be the blade and the wound. 2 men here in love with the same woman. Maybe not in the same way, though, as Dai's love for Bridget was devotional and loyal to the point of tragedy. He followed her orders like scripture, even when they tore him apart. Meanwhile, my Daryl Sam's love was for Double E, Amelie, which wore a different mask of the same woman. His connection was rooted in hope, history, and blood, but it held the same pull and in the end, the same betrayal. So now, several chapters later, we get the breakdown of Dai's name and how it was dear old dad who helped him gain that name by being a difficult to kill man. He also let us know of his love for dear old dad as well, which made it even all the more tragic that he had to make a choice like that back then. Dai breaks down right here, and it seems from the gut, but I also have my gut feeling, y'all, and this just doesn't do it for me. Maybe he feels bad, maybe he doesn't. Only time can tell the true actions of a person. That's why I love me some Daryl Sam, because he cut through all that mess and said his dear old dad did not want him to use the life he was given to be a pawn of the UCA and to stop pretending to be immortal like the dearest of all our friends. I feel like Daryl Sam using Double E's words here about the gun being of no use wasn't just a callback to the beach. It was him choosing not to return violence for the pain done to him and his parents. I'm hoping that Dai really lets Daryl Sam's words sink in, not just into his head, but into his soul. Because if anyone needs to change how they move in this world, it's him, and not out of duty, but out of healing. So after that, Daryl Sam meets back up with Deadman, who has my lovable Lou, and unfortunately they are what I believe to be in a state of limbo, and the order came through to just throw away my dearest BB, like they didn't just help save the world as well. Deadman gives us a suggestion on taking our lovable Lou out of the pod, and even though it would be in violation of the UCA, but who cares about them? Our BB's life is more important than some executive order. Deadman, of course, is not able to do either option, so not to worry, because as the rebels, we can do it all. Yet, when my Daryl Sam just said that he will go to the incinerator, I just couldn't believe that he would fall in line like this. After all the care he's shown my lovable Lou, I know he thought this may be the best option, but no, Daryl Sam, there has to be another way. Yes, Deadman then comes in to save the day, somewhat by sliding a tidbit of information our way. Now that Daryl Sam's cufflinks are offline, there is a chance that we can use this opportunity to completely go off the grid. Now, my Daryl Sam turns around to give Deadman this hug, y'all. I lost it. I felt like seeing my baby grow up from being all antisocial, even though, yes, I know he had his condition, and now he's being cured of that by healing in his own way through the beach. And now we see this new and approved Daryl Sam, the hugger. Standing right outside the gate of this isolation ward is my lovely Fragile, just waiting on her man to walk on by. I feel like Daryl Sam asking this standard small talk question isn't casual, and that it's code for, is the world going to fall apart with me today, or can it hold together just long enough to say goodbye to our lovable Lou? Fragile then opens up about following in her father's footsteps, and now she is the first private contractor of the UCA. Let's go! Keep on keeping up, Fragile. And just as soon as I was proud, then it was a what the heck moment. Next, when she let loose that she didn't shoot Higgs, which of course we all know if we watched that Death Stranding 2 trailer. So anyway, we will deal with that when it comes. Then my lovely lady had to hit us with her slogan here.
I'm fragile.
But not that fragile.
I have to admire her for asking my Daryl Sam again if he wanted to work for her, and I wanted him to accept so bad, but I'm still somewhat glad he turned her down, since our dearest friend also worked for her once upon a time. And I'm not saying Fragile is the cause, but look what happened to him. So I feel Daryl Sam on the reason why he declined. He's had enough of carrying other people's weight, even after playing the hero role. My girl Fragile tries to remind Daryl Sam that he's changed, but I guess his time on the beach couldn't undo all the damage. Whatever healing happened, it wasn't enough to quiet the fear that everything he touches slips through his fingers. So he makes his choice, leaving my lovely Fragile in tears once again. This scene here where my Daryl Sam holds onto the cryptobiote, then lets it go just as quick, felt like a metaphor for his relationship with Fragile, something he could have held on to, but in the end, he couldn't. And I'm not gonna lie, this almost made me shed a few tears too, y'all. So this last delivery will be the one to remember. So make sure you catch the next chapter. We're getting close to the release of the second game, so I hope you all have your pre-orders in, and if not, then make sure you catch my uploads of the next game. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe with the little bell jingle turned on so you all stay tuned in, my wonderful people filled with greatness. And as always, much love, much peace, and catch you on the flip side.